Okay, so today we're going to pull back the curtain on the world of financial services. You know, it's one of those sectors that can feel super complex, but it's actually the invisible engine powering just about everything in our daily lives. From grabbing that morning coffee to planning for retirement, finance is the system that makes it all happen. So let's break it down together.
To really get a sense of the scale we're talking about, let's just start with a number it's almost impossible to imagine. As of late 2023, the total value of all the shares on all the world's stock exchanges was over $109 trillion. I mean, that's not just a big number, it's a massive global pool of capital that's constantly moving and working.
But you know, it's not just about the total value that's out there. It's about the incredible speed of it all. Every single day, the foreign exchange markets, just one part of the system, see over $6 trillion change hands. To put that into perspective, more money zips around the globe in a single week than the entire value of all the world's stock markets combined. It's a system in constant, crazy fast motion.
So how in the world do we make sense of these kinds of numbers? Well, here's our game plan. First, we're going to stick with this idea of a $100 trillion engine. Then, we'll ask the big question. What does this engine actually do? After that, we'll meet the key players in the two financial worlds, see how they can make your money work, and finally, we'll take a little peek into the future that's probably already sitting in your pocket.
Right, so let's properly dig into this idea of a $100 trillion engine. Just like any engine, it needs fuel, right? And in this case, the fuel is all of our collective savings and investments. The financial system is really just the complex machinery that takes that fuel and turns it into power. Power that drives everything from a small local business getting a loan to a massive country-spanning infrastructure project.
So what does this gigantic engine actually do all day? I mean, if we lift up the hood and look past all the jargon and the crazy headlines, it turns out it performs three absolutely vital functions for our society. And without them, our economy would just stop.
First, it creates what you could call an investment chain, linking up people who have money to save with people or businesses who need to borrow it. Simple as that. Second, it's a huge system for managing risk, and that's everything from your car insurance to the super complex tools that protect global companies from uncertainty. And third, it provides the payment systems, the invisible plumbing that lets you buy a coffee or send money halfway across the world instantly.
And look, this isn't just me saying it. The Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco puts it perfectly. They say the system helps to efficiently direct the flow of savings and investment. What that really means is that when it's working properly, it's like the ultimate economic matchmaker. It connects savers and borrowers in a way that fuels growth, creates jobs, and at the end of the day, benefits the whole economy. Okay, so now that we know why this system exists, let's take a look at who the key players are. And probably the easiest way to get our heads around this enormous world is to split it into two different but totally connected arenas.
So we've got the wholesale market and the retail market. The best way to think about it is just B2B versus B2C. Wholesale is business to business. We're talking huge transactions between big institutions. And retail is business to customer. That's the part of finance that you and I deal with pretty much every day.
In the wholesale world, yeah, we're talking about the big leagues. This is where governments sell bonds to build new roads and hospitals, where major corporations raise money by selling stock, and where giant investment funds manage pension money for millions of people. It's the institutional backbone of the whole system.
And then there's the retail side. This should all look pretty familiar, right? It's your checking account at the bank, your car insurance, your retirement plan, and maybe even the financial advice you get when you're trying to figure out the future. This is finance built for you and me.
All right, let's zoom in on one really important part of that retail world, something that has a massive impact on all of our personal futures: wealth management. This is the whole part of the industry that's all about helping people manage and hopefully grow their money.
Now, what's really fascinating here is how the industry actually looks at its customers. It's all broken down, segmented, based on how much you have in investable assets, from the mass affluent all the way up to ultra-high net worth. And this isn't just about fancy labels. This system determines everything, from the kind of fees you pay to the level of personal service you get.
And the amount of money in play here is, once again, just mind-boggling. The assets managed for just high net worth individuals recently soared past $86.8 trillion. That number represents the combined financial futures of millions and millions of people, which really shows you the incredible amount of trust and responsibility placed in the hands of these wealth managers.
And that brings up a really crucial question for anyone who has investments, no matter how big or small. Who is actually calling the shots? Who is in control of your portfolio?
Because the answer to that really defines your whole relationship with your financial manager.
So, broadly speaking, there are two main styles. With discretionary management, you basically hand over the keys. You give a professional the authority to make investment decisions for you based on your goals. With advisory management, it's more of a partnership. The manager gives you recommendations, but you get the final say on every single move. It's really the difference between do it for me and advise me on what to do.
Now, here's the thing. All of these services, from those massive wholesale trades down to personal portfolio management, are being totally shaken up by one thing: technology. The future of finance isn't just happening in those giant skyscrapers anymore. It's happening right here in your pocket.
A perfect example of this is robo-advice. These platforms use really smart algorithms to build and manage an investment portfolio tailored just for you, based on your goals and risk tolerance. It's basically democratizing investing, making these sophisticated strategies available to almost anyone at a super low cost.
Which, of course, leads us to a really fascinating final question to think about. As technology keeps putting these incredibly powerful tools right into our hands, are we headed for a future where everyone basically becomes their own wealth manager? It's definitely something to chew on as you navigate your own financial journey. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.